Are you struggling to manage your emotions? Are you struggling to self-soothe? If you have had any childhood trauma experiences, or if you grew up in a narcissistic household, then you actually never was shown how to self-soothe. Not only that, your opinions and your emotions were made wrong. In this video, I'm going to talk about 4 common stress responses. How to recognize it, how to recognize your default stress response. And by recognizing it, you may be able to take a moment and shift it, or maybe even heal from it. The 4 common stress responses are fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Fight is exactly that. You're confronting the situation head on. You may raise your voice, you may get into an argument. Basically, your motivation behind fighting is to make the other person understand your perspective. Notice, if you're currently in a narcissistic relationship, the narcissistic person might make your anger wrong, might make the fight response wrong. They might say to you, look, your voice is raised, you're angry. Do you now recognize that the same thing that happened to you as a child is happening again? So don't let this narcissistic person gaslight you and believing that your emotions are wrong. Once again, one tip, one suggestion. When your narcissistic person does that, you can respond to them by normalizing your anger. You might say something like, yes, I'm angry, that's why my voice is raised. Actually, fighting is the first response. In many cases, fighting is actually healthy aggression, if it's not destructive. When you fight to have your needs met and it was not supported, then you resort to other stress responses. And the second one is fleeing. So fleeing is avoiding the situation altogether. In my experience, I usually notice fleeing in people with avoidant attachment style. Fleeing might also look like going away in our thoughts. We are not being present because the current situation is very stressful. Now, if you are an avoidant personality and if you are in a relationship with an anxious personality, then fleeing the situation might cause problems in your relationship. And if you want to avoid those problems in your relationship, try to name what you're doing. So you're already fleeing, that is your default stress response. You're already fleeing. Now, say it out loud. Say to your partner, hey, I need to take some space to calm down because I don't want something that I don't want to say come out of my mouth in this moment. So you see how by letting them know that you're taking space because you need it, and then you will come back and talk about it later, that I will come back will send a message to your anxious attachment style partner that you're not abandoning them. Now, you may be fighting and your narcissistic partner might tell you, get over it. How many times are you going to talk about it? Basically, they're making your fight response wrong and they're suggesting you to flee, avoid the situation completely. The truth is, you cannot get over anything if you did not get that closure. It's patriarchal bullshit to tell anybody to get over anything. If you could have already gotten over it. But that didn't happen, right? Asking for closure is not wrong. Narcissistic people thrive on not giving you the closure. And the third stress response is freezing. Freezing might look like, I don't know what to do. There's nothing, you are already deciding there's nothing I can do about this situation. Or a lot of fatigue. I need a nap right now. And the last one is fawning. Most people don't know, or you may have never heard about this. Now, fawning is, in my opinion, almost like Stockholm syndrome. In situations where you cannot do anything about the abuser. Now, if you were a child, that makes sense, right? But now you're an adult. And if you are in a safe situation, if you can safely resort to the other stress responses, fawning is not suggested. Because in fawning, you're basically appeasing or people-pleasing your abuser. I also noticed that fawning happens a lot in girls and women, also with people with codependent personalities. This is because we have been programmed. We are the nice girl, the nice woman, if we did not ruffle any feathers, if we did not get into an argument. So a lot of women just resort to fawning. Also, in my opinion, all these stress responses are linear. What do I mean by that? Like I already said, if fight is your go-to stress response, that is the most healthy. And when that is not supported, you might go to the next one, fleeing, next one, freezing. And if none of those work, then you might resort to fawning. So this is an exercise I will recommend for you to practice. First step is awareness. So recognize and name your default stress response to a given situation. Then take a moment. Instead of going to the pattern, going to the default stress response, take a moment and take one step back. So for example, if your go-to stress response is fawning, take a moment, name it, recognize it, and then try to see if you can freeze, meaning not doing anything. Try to see if you can freeze instead of people pleasing your abuser, fawning. And if your go-to stress response is freeze, take a moment and try to see if you can flee. Take some space. Take space. Get away from the situation. And if your go-to is fleeing, then take some space and see if you can fight. Healthy fighting, not destructive, of course. And I'm going to make a second video where I will give you an exercise and you'll be able to change these patterns, and you can even heal from the trauma that had patterned these type of stress responses in your nervous system. So that will be the next video. Anyway, was this video helpful? Let me know. Thank you.